I think that's a yes. Here we go, baby.
Here we
Start off
go.
with a nice voice crack. You love to see it. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 3 of the egg tossing. How many
Dipshit podcast.
how many eggs are in a carton? Is it 12?
I have no idea. Something like that.
Let's assume it's 12. Then we're a fourth of the way through an egg carton.
Does that mean on the 12th episode we have to actually record us throwing an egg carton at someone?
No, at the 12th. At the 12th episode, we decide if it's worth buying more eggs or not. We're just
Good point.
saying, nah, it's a wrap. So then we move on to the big fellas.
The big fellas. Oh, it's going to be so good.
Dude, that's going to be great.
Dude.
I guess. Let me see what topics we got pulled up today.
The first topic is so open and vague that I love it.
Oh, it is just life lessons and work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whoops, my bad. We're starting this off strong.
Yeah.
I'd wrote this down because I've been on a bit of a how do I want to phrase this? I don't want to say journey because that sounds like too mystical. It's really just been me thinking about trying to do stuff like this, like a podcast and recording and even gaming or anything, versus the job I currently have, which is stocking things on a shelf. And I get in my own head where I'm like, I'll get this PC, then I can like edit and record things better, and then I'll buy this, I'll buy that, and things will just get better. It's like, but it dawned on me that after thinking very, very intensely on myself and like looking inwards, that no matter what I buy, it's not going to change anything. Because there's fundamentals that you learn in life. Like, if I can't, I'm going to use my job as an example. If I can't reliably we're going to use laundry detergent. If I can't reliably go through the day and be able to put laundry detergent on the shelf, what makes me think that I'll be able to, without the risk of being fired, reliably edit and upload and keep a consistent schedule without that driving force of here's like a weekly paycheck, because that's guaranteed money basically. If you work the hours, you get the money.
Yeah.
Nothing that's being done here is guaranteed because you can get like demonetized. You can have that shit like stripped away from you pretty quickly, but it's just been a lot of like inward searching. Just if I can't sit down and go, okay, I'm gonna do what I have to do to the best of my ability, then when I go to do the things I want to do, how do I know I'm gonna be putting as much effort forward as I want to when the time comes? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same thing I've been going through. I've spent the last 24 years pursuing different endeavors and never really focusing on anything. And in the last 6 months, I've started really focusing on my writing ability and pursuing D&D and pursuing a story overall. And it's somehow disheartening, even though there's a new hope to it, because you don't know if you'll ever be successful with it. Tomorrow I could drop a short story and become this massive prolific writer for no good reason, or we could have an episode blow up, of the podcast. And it's weird because I'm excited about it and I'm having fun with these new things, but there is no guarantee like when you work a normal job.
Yeah.
And it's strange to stay in the headspace of, oh, this will work out eventually, when there is no guarantee, unlike your normal 9 to 5.
Because unfortunately, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately, this kind of stuff should be done for fun and for like, I want to do this. Like, I enjoy sitting down and having conversations with you. We've done it for fucking 3 years now.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's longer than that. It's like 5, 6.
Yeah, I guess. Because I would have met you a little bit after I graduated high school, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, like, we just sit down, we have these conversations a little more tame and a little wild sometimes. But this is just what we do normally. And it's like, we have a good laugh, so maybe, we put it out there and some other people could at least get a laugh or a smile if their day needs it or anything like that. But it's just when it becomes a hassle, like you said, where if something goes, like suddenly we hit this stride where it's like we have viewers, we have people looking at us. If we can't do it when nobody's looking, how can we trust ourselves to do it when everybody's looking?
Yeah,
Because then
absolutely.
that's the pressure. Is like now it's no longer it's still fun, but now it's like there's an expectation being set, which I don't hate the idea of. But what's really been struggling with me has been like go to work and it's like I just got to go through my 8 hours. I'm like I shouldn't be living like this. I shouldn't be living going in with the mindset get the 8 hours, get out. Because I should be going in going I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. So that way when I move on to the things I enjoy, I can sit down with that same mentality of I'm going to do the best that I can.
Yeah, but it's also, I think it's a matter of human perspective. Like everybody wants to have that like superhuman, I'm going to do everything to 100% and I'm not going to, bitch about anything or struggle with anything. But like that is inherently how people work. You know what I mean? Like you don't wake up every morning and go, I'm going to record for 10 hours and then I'm going to go work 8 hours and then I'm going to go to sleep and then I'm going to do it all again. And it's like, that's not, no real person does it that way. Sure, it's a nice ideal, but at the end of the day, we're all still human. Like,
I think I've said it to you once, and I say something similar at work all the time. Our brains were designed to keep us alive, not to keep us happy.
right.
So when we feel stressed, our minds usually want to go, oh, let's try to avoid these situations where we might have a heart attack.
Yeah.
But in most situations, I found that the obviously this take this with like a massive like block of salt. Uh,
A
the
salt lick, if you
yeah,
will.
the whole cube. Uh, some things that are like kind of scary and you're worried about are more than likely worth pursuing.
Absolutely.
Like it'll be worth it in most cases. Like there have been days where I'm like I don't want to do this. A good example being uh what night was it? Monday night. They asked us to like start cleaning up, and I went in autopilot and I grabbed a trash can. They were like, "Hey, look at you!" Like didn't even have to mention it, and I'm like, "Yeah, I've done this a few times." And they were like, "No, like genuinely, like thank you for remembering to grab that, or else we would have had to wheel it over there and risked forgetting it too." And it's just there's a bit of genuine appreciation there for the little shit that it's like if I'm gonna have to do it anyway, I might as well do it now.
Yeah. Grit and bear it and all that. The thing I think is weirdest about this current line of work, this chasing this entertainer, whatever, influencer dream, is in a normal
Whatever.
job, even if it's a bad normal job, you occasionally still get that thank you. You still get the you've done a great job or you've worked really hard today and good work. And I think the weirdest thing about this work is that it is mostly thankless, at least at the beginning. Maybe later on, and I say maybe, but we've all seen these massive creators become these, godlike celebrity entities. But
And
right
very quickly
now,
fall.
it is so thankless. You wake up and you do everything you got to do, and then it's like, okay, I'm done, and I have to pat myself on the back to feel better about it, and I'm not used to that dynamic. You know what I mean? I'm
Well,
used to somebody else going like, "Hey, great work today." Like,
so another thing, and it's a good point to touch on this. Another thing that I've been trying to do is I'm not gonna be one of those guys. I never fall for anything. I fall for some of the clickbait videos. I watch some of them that are like about life in general. And while I didn't take exactly what it said to heart because I think most of the time it's like bullshit, I've started looking at things like a progress bar, but in smaller sections. So, uh, when we first tried streaming and all that kind of stuff, we watched a few videos. One of them being Ludwig's. I can't remember what specifically the example was, but it was like set goals for yourself, but not something that rely on other people. So, great example being like, I'm going to have a surge of pride when we get done recording this, because it's going to be something that you and I have gotten through and done and completed 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Everything that happens afterwards, if this blows up, if this fails, doesn't matter at that point, because this is what I want to do. This is what we have fun. At least I have fun doing. I hope you have fun. I know talking
It's
to
a
me can be
blast.
a ring dinger of a
Sure.
time. But goddamn, do you sit through it like a champ? Um, but I think about it at this as a progress bar, and I go, okay, that is my thank you to myself. That is my. It doesn't matter if there's 8,000 comments or if there's no comments. I am package it up, wrap it up, set it under the Christmas tree from J to J.
Right. I think it's my best example I always use for, instant gratification in work is like when you mow a lawn. When you're done mowing the lawn, it looks really nice. You feel good because it looks a certain way.
That smell.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's the little things that they pay back for the effort that went into mowing said lawn. And with work like this, I feel like if you can set your mind to it and get the line of thought into I just get this done, and then the payoff is there because I did it. It's something I've struggled with a lot for streaming, and it's why I come and go so often with streaming versus work like this, where work like this is just, for me anyway, this is very much what we would do any day
This
of
is
the
just
week.
normal. This is a normal
You
Thursday
know,
morning.
just like recording is, at least on my end, because of the lack of work, is basically just playing a game with friends, and I get to enjoy it and then move on. And sure, I could probably do a little more when it comes to the editing side of things, but hey, I'm doing my best.
We'll get there.
Like,
oh,
yeah,
I should probably finish up that point. Speaking of wrapping up things nicely, the goal is getting it done. Like set the goals for something that you can achieve. Like I would think that our goal is to hopefully get to a point where we could record and get an episode out every Saturday or something.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like reach X amount of subscribers, because that goal now requires other people, stuff that we don't have influence on, to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So while it is nice to have like realistic goals like that, the end line should be that you just have to be like consistent, and you have to keep things that you can control in check.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
realistic perspective is very nice.
It is. Changes your whole outlook when you change little thought processes.
Yeah, goals and aspirations are so weird. It's strange for me because I've never been someone who aspires to the greatest degree. I'm not that guy that looks at the world and goes like, I'm going to change it, or I'm going to fix this massive issue. And like, sure, it's nice to be idyllic like that, but in reality, you do what you can. And it's really nice, I think anyway, to find something like this that is really easy but valuable work, in that hopefully we get to bring at least one person a smile by the end of the day. It's that for me is enough to keep doing this forever. I could do it till I was 60, 80, 100. It doesn't matter. And now I'm imagining you with a grumpy old man voice, and that's just the worst.
What do you mean?
But yeah, like, I don't know. It seems
that's sad. I hit a mean. What do you mean?
like, I don't know. It seems like it would be so much fun for us to build this over a lifetime and see where it goes. Like, even if it's not egg toss, if it's big fellas or it's whatever, like just having a very multifaceted experience where it's like one day you'll watch an episode and it'll be entirely life lessons and us trying to help people. And then the next day it's nothing but us talking about some stupid fucking dinosaurs in a game I hate. Like, that to me is great. That is so much fun. And that's why I just want to keep doing this, even though, you have those days where you wake up and you're like, I don't want to do anything today. I want to lay in my bed and be cozy. Or you wake up and you feel terrible. It's like, sure, I'll get up at 1 a.m. and sit here and record this silly podcast and just see what happens. Like, I think I don't know, it's kind of magic to me.
I mean, it goes back to the point, like, even if you were in that situation, we would just get up and talk at like 1 o'clock in the morning anyway. Because
right.
We've done it before. I think most of my friends that I hold near and dear, I've sat up talking with them until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, which I mean doesn't necessarily carry over well to the guys that I work with because we're on break at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I kind of have to talk to them. But like, it's weird how much that time just the AM hours really just do something mentally. Like, even though, like, when you get to that point where you're really tired and you start like blabbling and going on about whatever, like that still happens even when you're on like a normal sleep schedule for those hours,
Yeah.
because it's just, dude, it messes with you. It does. Nobody in my workplace knows what goddamn day it is. Not a single one of them. The manager, big boss guy, looked at me and said, "What is today?" I'm like, "I don't know, homie. I'm here with you. We're in the same spot." It's like I came in, it was Tuesday, and now it's Wednesday. I don't work Tuesday nights, but you get the idea. It's like I don't fucking know.
I don't know. I think there's a magic to. I want to hire a scientist, and like I just want to see what chemical it is that makes you like the loopy dipshit at a certain hour, because there's got to be something going on in the brain for it.
It's like inhibitions like fall almost.
Hmm. Yeah, all your layers of defense go away for a short time while you're sleeping, and it's weird.
I can't remember what. There's a conversation I had with a coworker that was just so bizarre where I'm like, if this was between two other people, like this would be like a fight, but because we're just talking, we're like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's like, yeah, I know.
dude.
24 times, huh? I can only jerk off like 10, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It's
do.
it's just
Late
stuff
night
like that.
talks will broach all barriers. You talk about the weirdest shit and kind of find common ground on it. When normally it'd be like a let's not talk about this kind of thing. Like it's like put that away. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, it also doesn't probably doesn't help that like 85% of my fucking coworkers are on drugs, but none of the ones that you know that I'm aware of.
Oh, that's great.
But there's literally like a group of them that go out to a car and then like they like while the car doors are closed and we're pushing in carts, it just you can smell the weed so bad. And I'm like, I don't have anything against smoking weed, but it just what gets to me is I know if I smelled like weed, I would be tested and kicked out.
Yeah.
Even if I got like, even if I'm like the top in the top like 5% of workers in that place, if I smoked weed and went to like the best worker in the building, they'd be like, "Nah, you gotta go."
Even if it gave me superpowers, they'd fire me.
Yeah, there's just like I don't know, but I mean I get along with everybody pretty much well. Even people that like I hang out with, that that group of friends, the people that don't like them, I still get along with them because
Right.
there's a certain level of maturity that's like you're not them, they're not you,
Mm-hmm.
so you can like differentiate. I mean, I butt heads with some people sometimes, but more often than not, I butt heads with the people that I'm friends with. Mostly because I'm around them a lot, and
Well, and
they're
I
very
think
dumb.
when you're closer with people, passion tends to rise. You know what I mean? Like you'll talk about something you really care about or they don't care about, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, like shut the fuck up. Like I love you, but I want to beat your ass right now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like I can't. There's I gotta be careful with who I talk with because I know a few people that listen to this. I can't tell some stories. God damn it. I mean, I could. I would just. Nah, I'm not going to. Just know that there's a
probably for
few
the
funny
best.
things. There's a few funny things that happen. Um, Speaking of funny things that happen, there's a few older people that work there. There's like an age gap. It's like 35 and below, and then it's like 55 and up. Like there's no middle ground. There's like uh 6 of us. Maybe there's like 8 now. But there's like very few of us who are like below that 35 and under. And then at least half of our workplace are just old people who are like part-timers. But
Right.
they're mostly all sweet except for this one guy. This one goddamn idiot. I'm not going to say his name for obvious reasons, but this dude was helping me condition my aisle. And well, I guess I can't say. I don't know. Was it? Yeah, it was my aisle because I worked pasta that night. So he's helping me condition, which is bringing things from the back of the shelf up to the front so it looks more full and people could grab it easier. Customers. Um, as I'm turning around doing my side of the aisle, I hear crash. I look over and spilled a jar of salsa. Not insanely outrageous to do. Like the shelves are ass, and the jars just kind of. It's like somebody yelled, "Do a flip." They just kind of go.
Yeah.
And I looked over. It's like He's like, "God damn it!" Started to walk away. I was like, whatever. Leave it there. Everybody just kind of stands aside. I'm expecting this dude to come back with either the mop or paper towels, right? Because it's sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sauce, not salsa. He comes back around the corner with 2 pieces of cardboard. See where this is going?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He puts it on either side of the spill and scoops it together. He basically just smeared it across the ground like a child with like paint.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I better go get some paper towels. And there was a woman that was helping us, and you could see in her eyes, she's like, that would have been the first idea. So, the fact that it's the backup plan is a little crazy right now. And he takes the cardboard, he squishes it together. So it's like he's like glued the 2 cardboard pieces together with the sauce. And you know what this guy does with these soaking wet sauce covered pieces of cardboard?
What's he doing?
We've got these things that are called they're called shamrocks. They're gray totes that we kind of like wheel around that hold cardboard that we throw away. Specifically, we take the cardboard, put it in the baler so it squishes the cardboard. He sets it in my sham. On top of everything. So I look over and I'm like, I'm going to take care of this before it literally spills everywhere. Because I don't know if you know this, you probably shouldn't put salsa in a baler. Sauce, excuse me. So I go take it in the back, and I pray to God that he's getting like paper towels and not sandpaper. And I take care of it the right way. I throw it down because anything doesn't go in the baler, we throw it down the hole in the wall. Throw it. Some other people are like, "What the fuck?" And I explain to them what happened. They're like, "You're kidding." And I'm like, "No." He came around the corner holding 2 pieces of cardboard. And it's like, "Well, he's not firing on all cylinders." Like, we understand. So that was absolutely insane. And more people were like, there were a lot of people that were like, well, if he put it in the shamrock, he should be the one to toss the shamrock then. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, I don't want him to fuck it up more.
Right. End up making a mess everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, I can just throw this, plus it gets me out of the conditioning. That shit can be boring sometimes. And I don't want to spill fucking sauce. Like, let me get out of there.
I've always found it really funny, like the different jobs I've had in sales. For whatever reason, companies won't buy they just won't buy good shelving for anything. And it just kills me how many weird things you'll have happen because of a cheap shelf. Excuse me?
I mean, I guess I don't think ours are very cheap. I just think they like people stand on them and they bend at the end, so you can't bring you can try to bring stuff forward, but it'll just fall over. It's really bad with anything like boxes, like cake batter, or dryer sheets. Those are some of the worst. The jars, you can just kind of like set them a little ways back, and then people will walk up and be like, the shelf's fucked up there. It makes sense why they didn't put it there. I'll reach my millisecond forward.
Yeah. I remember I was working at a game store for a few years, and there were several occasions where someone would go to put a movie up on the shelf, and these shelves, they don't really make a specific movie case or game case store, like a shelf unit. So you're just using these kind of ramshackle pieces of metal that line up the right way. And I remember this old lady, a real sweet old broad that used to come in all the time. She put these movies up, like a whole selection of them. She put them all back. And then they proceeded to, because she was too short and the pile was too big for the rack, she sat them up there and then they all just came tumbling down onto her. And she just
Oh.
looks at me and I'm like, I got you, like, whatever, and I start putting them back up. And then she proceeds to pick up another pile and do it again. And on the second one, it's like, you should have figured it out. Like, are you kidding me?
You see the writing on the wall. I got one sweet old lady, very short. We've got these little carts. They're called flat tops. Some of us could like sit on the top of them if we're organizing something, just like kind of like relax a little bit while also still getting shit done. She is small enough that she cannot do it safely because she technically has to jump to get on it, and they're like, that's a safety hazard, please don't do that. But the American dream, that old woman brought me fudge. It was so goddamn good. I shouldn't say brought me fudge. She brought in fudge for a special event that was happening. But she walked by and she's like, you want any fudge? And I was like, you're goddamn right, I want some fucking fudge. I took a piece and I was like, so good.
Dude, can't relate to that, man. I've never had, I guess nice. I can't say that. I did have a coworker at the prison bring me cookies. She was an older woman that was kind of motherly for me. And she brought me cookies one time. And it was the weirdest experience ever because, like, she gives me these cookies. And she's like, here you go. Thanks for being so great these last few days because we'd been during lockdown. And I was like, thanks, whatever. And then I proceeded to have to basically keep my coworkers from stealing these cookies for the rest of the night.
It's like
and if it wasn't my coworkers, I have actual inmates trying to steal my cookies. And so I'm just like, no one's on my side at this point. I am public enemy number one because of cookies.
You are the Antichrist.
Yeah, like everyone wants to whoop my ass because of cookies that I didn't even account for at the start of that night.
Hey, I want a cookie. Like, should be better at your job than forehead. I'm an inmate. Fuck you.
Right.
Oh man, it's pretty wacky. Any gift from anybody just warms your heart.
Yeah.
Just does wonders.
It's real nice.
That lady's gonna kill me because she stocks candy, and she's like, "Hey, there's a sale on these," and I'm like, "You're gonna give me?
I'm gonna have heart disease."
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking. Don't tell me the goddamn caramels are on sale. You know how much of that shit I'll go through in an hour? It's like, I literally, when we got that fudge and we were having it at like lunch, I literally looked at it and I'd eaten so much, I was like, if I eat one more, I'm not going to be able to move in my aisle. And then I picked up 2 pieces and I walked out of the break room.
Like, so I do have, as always, every week I have one topic that we just have to get to because I need to know. And I need to know what the fuck is up with cop-shaped vehicle. Real bad.
Cop-shaped vehicle?
Yeah.
One of the guy who helps take me to work.
Mm-hmm.
He was at that other store for 2 weeks, and I want you to know when this was said. The guy looked at me and said, "This is gonna be on the podcast, isn't it?" And I went, "You're goddamn right, it is."
Every time,
because we had come to a light. He's like, I don't know if this is a turn on right spot, and I don't want to risk it because that looks like a cop-shaped vehicle behind us. I knew what he meant, but in my head, I was like an Autobot.
Yeah, like what do you mean? Like it's a person-shaped car?
Yeah, I was like, I understand what you're saying. The way that you have phrased it has left it open to interpretation. And in my head, I'm like Transformer, Iron Man. We've got the Iron Giant. Like we got all these different ideas. It's like I knew you could have just said cop car. It looks like a cop car or a cop vehicle. The fact that you specified cop-shaped vehicle has really, really done me in. And it was one I wasn't wheezing from laughter, but I was just like, how many ways can I interpret this?
Right.
And then I wrote it down like minutes after it happened.
And I guess for anyone that is watching that isn't from America, we have a road law that allows us to turn right on a red light as long as no one is actively coming. You don't want to cause a crash. But in a lot of European nations, they do not allow that at all, as it is a risk. But that
I
is a
mean,
thing.
is it because they maybe an ignorant question? Is it because they're on the other side of the road in some places?
Uh, well, yes and no. Some countries still drive on the right side of the road versus the left. Not right as incorrect, but some of them, even if you're on the right side of the road, do not allow it because it does pose some unnecessary risk for a few seconds of save time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. I mean, I guess that's
but
fair.
that's the
It's just
American way, you know.
in my head, I was like, I guess that would make more sense if you have to like cross an entire other.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you could do right on red in
Gotta go
left driving
fucking
nations at all,
dude. Some of
because that
those,
would just be breaking
yeah,
the law.
some of those smaller countries, you're going coast to coast on that turn. You're going across the damn country. Um.
It's such an interesting thing. I know for me anyway, because in the last, I don't know, 8 months to a year, I've started working with some international people, and it's really the things you take for granted that are so different in a place like France or the Netherlands. It's just strange. Like it's so weird when you get to talking to somebody and you say something and it's like you spoke another language because they're like, I have no idea what you mean by that. Even if you're both speaking English natively, it's just the difference in culture is so massive, and it's a really cool learning experience for me. I don't know, it's fun.
I'm gonna take you on a little learning journey here.
I can't learn. I'm dumb.
Maybe you already know this, maybe not. I've told a few people this, and they seem very surprised by it. I learned a fun fact from one of my friends across the oceans. Do you know who made the drink Fanta?
Not at all.
Do me and anybody listening, if you don't know, do me a quick favor. Just do a quick Google search. I'm not gonna say who. We're not gonna spoil it. But Connor, I would like to hear your reaction to learning this knowledge.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Take your time, buddy. Yeah, trust me. Take your time.
Oh, that's great. I love it here.
I feel like that should be more common knowledge.
Yeah, you'd think, but because of who it's aligned with, it makes sense that it's not.
So, the actual explanation between this was there was an embargo on the cola syrup, and
Right.
so they had used I believe, an orange extract, was what my friend had told me.
That is
But
amazing.
there's your fun, creative, wacky fact of the week, I guess.
Just take it back. Run that one back. Not fun, but kind of weird and interesting fact of the week.
I mean, judging by your reaction, it sounded kind of fun.
Look, it was fun because I am the worst.
Uh, anyway, yeah, that's a little off the cuff. That has been like mind blowing to me. Anyway, to kind of slow things down again, may or may not have to cut that one out.
Nah, keep it in. It's great.
So I thought, for some strange reason, it had been implanted in my head that when I'm at work and I'm using the restroom, the cleaning staff is normally not supposed to start cleaning the bathroom. That has been my understanding, either for like legal reasons, because it being the male restroom, and I know that they are female employees, I can see how there would be company issues.
Yeah.
I am sitting on the toilet, and I hear the door open, and I've had people come in and just kind of like, for anybody out there who is always curious, if the door is just shut or locked, there's enough space that you can kind of like glance down and see the little bar crossed, and you could be like, okay, it's locked.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people come in and shake the door, and then while I thought it was gonna fall over, while shaking it and hearing the locked noise, go, is anybody in there?
I love that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
multiple times now have told people to enter. Like somebody
Go
shakes the
ahead,
door
go
and you
ahead.
just go enter.
Yeah.
Like
Proceed. But I noticed that they kind of like walk in, and the noise stops for a second, like a very clear moment of them acknowledging that this door is shut and there may be somebody in the bathroom.
Mhm.
Then I hear the spray bottle and the urinal flush. I'm like, okay. And I see the stuff get sprayed on the ground. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just, I'm getting up. I, I'm not dealing with this. I flush the toilet, and I hope that me flushing the toilet is like an alarm of, oh, there's somebody in here. I better move. I put my gloves in my pocket because I set them on the side because I don't want them to risk falling in the toilet because they're in my back pocket. I open the stall, and the cleaning lady is there, and she looks over and goes, "Sup?"
Like, hey, what's up, man? How's
Yeah.
it going?
I'm like, "What's poppin'?" I start washing my hands, and she walks out, and I'm washing my hands for a minute, and I'm like, the door's just wide open. Like, if anybody's standing within a certain distance, like, they can just look in here and see me washing my hands. It's like, okay, whatever. Dry it off. She kind of stands out there for like 2 more seconds. I leave. And I see one of my coworkers, and I'm like, I thought they weren't supposed to do that while we were in there. And the guy, bless his heart, looks at me and goes, "They did it to you too?" and and he's like, "Yo, I didn't think they were supposed to. I thought I was crazy." It's like I thought there were like multiple issues with them doing that, but
Well,
what the fuck? It's like, I just want to, dude. I just leave me alone.
I can tell you from experience, having worked a few maintenance jobs, they don't teach you shit about what you're supposed to do with cowork. Like,
So
they're very specific on, like, the training is very specific on how to handle people,
so
like normal customer.
before when I worked there, they would like come in, they'd knock, they'd say something, and if somebody said something back, they would leave. This
Mhm.
one, same person from like the same group, just walks in and is like, "Sup?" I'm like,
She's a homie.
it's like, she's a real one. It's like, yeah, can you give me some of that fucking good shit you got growing in the ceiling? We all know you're doing it.
Also, are
No.
we 3 weeks in a row with talking about bathroom experiences for you? I
Um,
really think we are.
are we? What would the not specific experiences with me? I don't think.
Okay. I was sitting here thinking, I was like, I don't know if we're 3 weeks in a row, but I really hope we
The
are.
second one
Like,
the second one I believe we just talked about it like growing up in the ceiling, like weed
yeah.
farms and meth labs.
Hmm.
But no, I don't think I talked about an actual experience that happened.
Well, I guess if we're going to get on the subject of online training, I I had to take the time out of our weekly ish session to talk about the stupidity that is online trading at every job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a job, and even if it's the most menial task filled job ever, like lifting things and moving them, you will spend at least one shift of your first few weeks, usually several, doing training on stuff that does not pertain to you at all. Like, if there's an earthquake and angels come down from the sky to kill us all, what do you do as an employee of X place? Why? Why do I have to waste hours sitting in front of a computer that is somehow from 1992 and listening to someone who's never acted in their life act like they're an employee of said company? I don't. I feel like it's $1 million industry that doesn't need to fucking exist. Like, there shouldn't be this much B-roll footage and shitty training exercises for every job ever. And maybe it's an American thing only, but it's ridiculous to me.
Um, I can actually bounce off this because I've had to start doing some of my online training. Um, last time, this is where I got really upset at the company last time because I'm supposed to get paid for that training because it's part of your training. Like
Mm.
you're on the clock while you're supposed to do it. Last time, one of the managers broke their finger and just couldn't work, so they had them sit in the back and just everybody signed in that they did their training for them. Just because it was like it's mundane stuff that like most of us know, like, hey, don't go in the baler.
Don't go into a machine that compresses cardboard into a
Yeah,
small square.
I mean, I think like it takes like if you hold that switch, it takes 5 seconds to get across. If you can't jump up on that arm, that's natural selection at that point. Like that thing moves slow enough, unless you have like obviously unless you have like a disability or you're crippled as you get thrown in. But if you're getting thrown in, there's other issues, obviously. But I was watching something about that where it's like if you drop your phone in, even if the machine is off, you can get terminated immediately if you get caught reaching your hand in to grab something. I will not. I have allegedly stood on top of this thing and beat the living shit out of cardboard boxes to get them down to where they could be squished. But I've
Yeah.
never put myself in a position to be like inside the machine. If something needs pushed down farther, we got like a poking stick for that. Thankfully. But
Yes, smoking stick.
I've had to start anyway. The one person did it before, and I was very upset because I didn't get paid for it. Was is the end of the line. And while I like to do the job to the best of my ability, I want to get paid to do the stuff I want to do, and some of that stuff we told we were gonna get paid for. I don't like being lied to. Period. End of sentence. I've started to do these online ones because when my manager and I were going through my benefit stuff, he goes, what the fuck? Why are there 53 notifications?" I'm like, "Because I haven't been able to do my training." He goes, "All right, well, you can try to do that tomorrow." I come in. First, I get a little worried because they have me run the live load. Obviously, very important to get the live stuff done. Just because, so to make sure it gets done. And I trust myself enough to get it done. I don't trust half the other employees to get it done. I'm like, okay, whatever. Then it hits me. The reason I had trouble doing my training the last time is because the server goes down for maintenance during our shift. For like the majority of the shift. So I'm ahead of
Like every day?
Yeah, when I worked there before, it was every day.
That's very strange.
I was like, this is unbelievably dumb. I know exactly what's happening. I'm gonna go back there. I'm gonna be like, the server's down. They're gonna be like, what? No. Guess you're gonna have to run pets then. But that ended up not being the case. The server was up, thankfully, and I was able to do some things. But I just started a session that said estimated time to complete 35 minutes. It's like, okay, get this one out of the way because this one is food and safety.
Right.
I stock Mucinex. I do not handle hamburger meat. I do not handle any produce. I do not get near anything that requires me to wear a hairnet, an apron, and one-time use gloves.
Yeah.
But that is the summary of what this 35 minutes was. And to top it off, 5 minutes into my sitting down and starting the training that they said I could do, one of my managers walks up and goes, "Hey, since you've already started that one, whenever you get done with that one, could you run sugar and like condition it?" I'm like, "Fine, okay."
Yeah.
So I get up, run over there. Half the sugar's cut the fuck open, so it just spills everywhere. And what really pissed me off was the same goddamn cleaning lady. It starts like sweeping up the fucking sugar, and I'm like, "You see the torn bags? It's gonna happen again in 5 fucking seconds. Just goddamn wait." So I'm like frustrated because I'm trying to move things around. I'm trying to get it organized to like look nice. I'm trying to make sure I don't cost the store like 700 pounds of sugar. Yeah. Anyway, it was just the bizarre adventure of, hey, like one piece of sugar, sweep, sweep, sweep. One thing of sugar, sweep, sweep, sweep. It's like, just wait.
Just get out of the way. Stop it.
Fucking, I'm gonna beat you with the broom. Just leave.
Yeah.
Not really.
I don't know. My two favorite training experiences, and I say favorite, but they were both trying on a spiritual level, were working as maintenance at a truck stop. And then of course the training for the prison was hilarious. Because training for the prison was basically just sitting there in a room full of people who are all going to be prison guards, except for I think one or two of us, they were going to be medical staff. They were nurses who had left hospitals and decided to come work for the state at that prison. And I remember sitting there with 30 or so other people about my age. I think the oldest among us was like 45 or 50.
Among Us.
Among us. And we were watching Scared Straight.
As one
And for
does.
me, it is, well, like for me, it is super strange because I was one of those kids that got made to watch Scared Straight. I was a troublemaker. Um, and so there was a lot of, you know, I'm sitting outside of a prison watching Scared Straight going like, man, I've basically done this already. Do I really have to? Like, I've watched most of this show. I'm like, whatever. Like, maybe there's something impressive, like something pressing or important about it that I need to see that I didn't see before, because maybe they've got a different cut of the same episode. And like, no, it's the normal episode, and we're watching it for no good reason. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm making a lot of money to do this. I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing happened during that, which was a girl who was there with us, who was real young. I think she was 19 at the time. Just goes, is that really what it's like? And the entire room kind of falls silent because we're sitting like maybe 30, 50 feet from exactly where this episode was filmed. And it's just like, yeah, that's really what it's going to be like. What do you mean? Is that really what it's like? Are you sure you should be here? Like,
what do you mean it's real?
Like, it's a prison. It's not like, this isn't a daycare. I don't understand. How are you lost or she didn't make it very long, but it was great. It was so fun to just like, you're sitting around with a bunch of people who all think they're going to be this super action hero, and there's like two or three of us that are just like, this is going to be fucked, isn't it? Like, this is going to suck at times and be really fun at others. And then like, I remember before that I had worked that maintenance job, and I remember watching a 2 hours of a video that was just, hey, if there's a fire at this truck stop, this diesel station, if there's a fire and it goes into the diesel tank and the entire facility explodes, what do you do?
Duck.
And like, yeah, like I'm watching this 2 hour video with my manager sitting beside me, watching very intently. She was the GM over the store, so she had to really put on the firm face. And at one point I just looked over and went like, I'm gonna be dead. Like, if this fucking place blows up, I will be a corpse. What the fuck do you mean? What am I gonna do for the company? Like, and she just looks at me and goes like, yeah, you're kind of right. And it's like, why are we here?
Like, suppose, now hear me out. Suppose there's a gas explosion and everything within a 2-mile radius is obliterated. Where do you go? To heaven, hopefully.
Yeah, that's really how it felt. It was absurd. Like, it almost feels like they're clearing this for a legal reason, and they don't actually give a fuck about you learning it. Like, they're doing this just so that when this happens, they can go, he was warned. Yeah, and it's like, that's fucked up.
That, not to say like we told you so, but we did show the video. What happens if we get a nuke dropped on our house? Just blink. If it doesn't see you, it can't hurt you.
Play Peekaboo. Peekaboo? Never mind.
Peekaboo, Blue Pikachu. They have so much stuff. You know what Okay, I'm gonna talk about something. I'm gonna get into like a really long rant here about about things that cults. Okay.
The sports team or a cult?
Cult.
Okay.
The store that I work for has an orientation video that they show. And in this video, there's been a lot of stuff about like unions and everything in the news lately.
Onions or
unions. You idiot. Specifically like people unionizing against workplaces. This video, I cannot express you enough, is 15 minutes long of just some lady being like, we here at this place do not suggest that you join a union because some unions are bad. And in the event that something were to happen to you, like accidental death or dismemberment, you may lose your right to fight for yourself. Bitch, I'm dead. That is the whole point. That is the whole point of the goddamn accidental death and dismemberment insurance. I don't care past that point. But there's this whole thing where it's like, we here at this place, and I started thinking about, this is going to go on a way on a side thing. Connor, let me ask you a genuine question. When was the last time you recited the Pledge of Allegiance?
8th grade.
Why did they teach us that? You would think if I was a kid today and I had to sit through that shit again, in my head I'm like, man, it must be like, I hope we get paid for this one day, clock in and do this shit. No, you know what I do? I clock in and I go sit in the bathroom for 15 minutes. I don't say shit. And I start thinking about, it's like, you're making these kids, just the kids. Nobody else does this. Some people do like the national anthem. That's fine. Nobody says the Pledge of Allegiance past any schooling.
Yeah.
It's like, you're teaching these kids to pledge their life to a flag that they don't even understand yet.
Well, and half the people who are grown don't understand it either.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my god, like, there's so much just fucking, like, listen to us, do as we say.
Do as we say, not as we do. That is like
the
American spirit distilled. It's like, don't form a union because the company will make less money. If you die, I'm going to steal your money, even if you had the insurance to stop you from losing money from death.
I had to sign like a portion, like you have to pay for it, obviously. But it's like, for me, because I'm a non-tobacco user, it's like 17 cents a paycheck for $160,000.
Yeah.
Like, sure, whatever. I don't care if I get accidentally deathed. But you have to file and like put in information for a beneficiary, and I didn't know who to put because I don't have a significant other at the moment, and I don't know if I want anybody in my family to get any money.
Yeah,
that's I know it helps them out, but it's
my daughter or my mom or my little brother.
Yeah, you have a kid, like that makes sense. You have a kid. Finn doesn't have a goddamn social security number. That cat couldn't get anything if I wanted him to. I would love him to, but
just imagining Finn Scrooge McDucking through a big pile of cash.
Finn would have gold claw caps. He would have gold glasses, gold collar. He'd be a pimp chimpin'. But yeah, it like noticing all these things and just again going through that thing where I'm thinking in my head about life in general. It's just like, this shit is just fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, I get being a patriot. I get being for your country. I get, like, having loyalty to a brand and having loyalty to the place that you work. Because they do, despite some of the stupid shit that we have to put up with, the company does treat us, like, fairly well. Turn on the AC during the afternoon hours, you dumb fucks. But that aside, it's like, why? What are we doing here? Like, people are gonna like eventually sit back like me and go, this is just weird. And I think the even worse part is me being like, that's weird, and I walk away, and I can't be like, hey, this is cult activity. I'll get shot.
Yeah,
I'll get shot for saying that.
Which is like the definition of how a cult works. You know what I mean? It's like when you bring up that it's a cult, that's when you die.
Yeah, that's nobody. Rule number 1 about Fight Club: nobody talks about Fight Club.
Right, like that's when you get kicked into the baler. Like,
yes, fucking thrown. But there's just a bunch of stuff that I've been noticing in life where it's like I can kind of understand, but this is kind of weird. Do you want some Mucinex or what are we doing here, buddy? It also, watching everybody come into this place from different walks of life. There's one guy who has started working with us about the same time I restarted. He was bragging, and basically, I don't want to say bragging, but he was talking about how much he had in the bank account when he was 18, when he turned 18. And it was 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our other employees looks at him, points at him, and goes, you're the 1%. And
it's facts.
And I'm like, how the fuck did you end up here with me? How were you so much better off with that much money? Where did it go?
Yeah.
How do you I I mean, I understand expenses and like house, car, kids, family. But when you hit 18, where? If you're not going to use it, give it to me. I'll use it. I'll put that shit in a fucking bank. Like
It
let that sit.
tends to be, at least in my experience, it tends to be the people who they grew up that way, and then because of their advantages when they're 18, they piss it all over. There's a lot, at least there were a couple people that I knew personally that when I was growing up and in high school, they were extremely well off, like to the point of like, why are you even in my area?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Midwest isn't a place with a high cost of living really at all, even if you go to the major cities. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they tend to make the biggest mistakes with their money. I had a
I do
friend
want to
who,
specify this guy is not. I don't want to say he's an idiot with money. He
right.
does not come off as the guy who's super dumb. And from what I recall, he has inherited the home that he got,
Mm-hmm.
but he's paying basically rent to help like somebody else got it, he's buying it from them kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
uh so there's just a part of me where it's like, you college.
College.
College, like engineering degree or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's wild to me, especially being a guy who I had a kid really young. I was 19 when my daughter was born.
Yeah.
Um, you can work hard and be really well off, even if you're from nothing. I mean, and that's not to say I'm from nothing. I'm not from like the most broke family, but I'm definitely not well off. Um, and you can be from all the money on earth and piss yourself down to being broke, and working a minimum wage job. It's pretty wild. We live in a weird place where you can just do that. Like right now, I could go blow $2,000 on nothing. I could come away with literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why? Why is that an option for me? Like,
What, who signed off on this?
yeah.
Who's done this?
Who allowed it so that I could right now go get 5 credit cards and put myself in such crippling debt that I have to basically declare myself dead financially so that I can get out of it? Because that's what bankruptcy is. It's like you basically go like, hey, I'm so fucking broke that I want you to just say I'm dead and zero out my credit score so that I can get away from these bills. Like I want to forfeit all assets and just die.
Trying to build a credit score has got to be the most frustrating thing that I've ever experienced in my life.
Yes.
Because I recently applied for a credit card through my bank,
Mm-hmm.
and I was curious because I asked a few questions. I was like, how much would you like starting off? How much would you suggest I get a balance for? And they're like, this much. And I was like, okay, like I make that comfortably. That's fine. Um, the problem that came with my application. Here's what threw me off. I don't know if I told you this one. When I applied for it, I put in how many hours I worked, how much I made, and how much I made per week. Because it's per pay period, I get paid per week. And when I got the information back, they were like, we unfortunately had to decline it because of how few hours you worked.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of money I made was perfectly fine for the credit, but the hours I worked was not.
Yeah.
I was like, this is dumb. It only goes up from here. You
Yeah.
understand this, correct? And
Building a credit score is.
that's not to say like my job pays a lot. It pays a good amount. It pays more than the other positions because I work thirds. And let me tell you, if them shutting off the AC after 11 p.m. is the cost of us getting a 60-cent premium overnight bonus, they can have that shit back. Turn that AC on. I don't care. It is so hot in that building. And the worst part is we're not the people who are like moving the stuff around and getting all hot and sweaty. We're not even the ones that complain the most about it. The people who put the pricing tags on the stuff do. Like, oh, it's so hot in here. I don't understand how you guys do this. It's like, yeah, that's why we're the ones doing it. It's because other people won't. It's just, uh, I hate. I just hate. Um,
I just hate.
just
Leave
I
it
just
right there.
I
Let it
just
die.
and so the credit card situation has been resolved by they're going to freeze X amount of money in my savings account as collateral in case I don't pay back the credit.
Right,
I'm like
because the bank is the mob.
that's sure, whatever. But I've got a vet bill coming up in a week, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should probably wait. The lady was gonna call me Tuesday, and just didn't. It's just like, okay, whatever you call, I guess. But I wanted to have like double or triple whatever the amount was, just in case. It doesn't hurt. So it's gonna
Yeah,
take a little bit, but I did want to build up some credit, and I feel sad because I did this to get enough on the credit card to start paying off a computer to get to help with editing and streaming, like I talked about earlier with the whole rant about wanting to get a better one.
hmm
Uh, I I don't know what our experience has been with our friend who got the computer from this place, but ever since then I have looked at nothing but complaints about this company.
right,
And it has been shocking because it was all good and then suddenly it's just been bad. Like there was a change in management or shipping or something has shifted the dynamic to where people are like, "What is this? What is happening?"
right.
So,
I mean, as far as I've known, and from what little time I've spent with him, it seems to be working well. I mean, it's not been bad.
yeah, but
He's
I
had
don't think he's going to push it to the limits that it's supposed to go
no,
to though.
not at all.
Yeah.
It hasn't yet, anyway. But
I mean, he talked about something was loose, wasn't it?
yeah. But that's an issue with all pre-built gaming PCs, which I guess is a fairly good segue. There was, and this is mostly hearsay, but um, I was reading about a PC company who basically shut doors overnight. Um, and I don't want to get
Okay.
into specifics because I don't know everything. I didn't go reading too much into it. But basically, they had a creator support thing going on where they would give away PCs to viewers for people's channels.
Mhm.
Um, they do the giveaways for these bigger people, and it was going well. They were doing really well actually, and a couple of my favorite streamers had started working with this company, so I was like, cool, I'll start looking into them.
Oh, I
In
think I know
case I
this.
go to in case I go to start upgrading or just changing things.
Mhm.
And basically they just go like, like they talk to a guy and they're like, you're just too small. You don't have enough stuff.
Oh, was it during
So
the giveaway?
yeah,
Yep.
so they were
Yep.
just like, we're not gonna give you this thing, even though you won,
Ah, you don't
because
meet our criteria.
you don't have the panache, you don't got the people, the followers, the status. And I was just like,
Yeah, literally.
that's a bold ass choice. Like
If you want to
you're
see somebody shoot themselves in the foot,
right.
that is the video for you to go watch.
Well, and it was weird for me because like the whole point of a program like that, at least
It's
to
to
me
help
as someone who
small
does not run a
creators.
computer, yeah, is like you're helping small creators get their name out, and they're getting their name out and they're doing all these things, and no, you basically just went, fuck this, I don't care anymore, just throw it away.
The worst, I think. Okay, this could be like maybe might be a hot take. This could be like if the person didn't meet the criteria, just hit the next button. Don't
Right.
bring attention to it.
Don't DM them and go, hey, you won. Like,
Yeah, don't go through this whole thing where you're like, X person won. Oh, wait a minute. That's just do 2 second search. Look,
or
follow through and
just
give
give
them the
them the
PC. Yeah,
fucking C. Like what's the total losses if that person doesn't suddenly become a brand rep?
I cannot remember
5 grand
the name.
max,
I think I remember
6
the
grand.
name, but it's just I remember reading this and then like like their shit plummeted and they lost like
Did
so much.
overnight, like they legitimately shuttered the company.
Did they
Like,
try to sell it and rebrand it?
yeah, they tried to, and then they realized that the legality issues were going to start coming, and they were like, never mind. Going
Yeah,
forward,
that
we
is
just don't
so
exist anymore. Like,
that is so crazy. Like I know a few people. So I have some friends who are like extremely lucky human beings, and it makes me feel a little bit better for having my unlucky ass life.
yeah,
But uh it almost feels like anything they enter they win. It's like I get choosing your spots, but come on now. You're
yeah.
cheating. You're hacking IRL. Uh I know two people who have two of my friends who wanted to get into streaming, and they they want to do like I don't want to say it's VTubing, but it's in that genre where it's not their face, but it's like a character that they create, and
Yeah.
that is cool. Like I love kind of stuff like that when you can like immerse yourself. They just they just won a character model. They just won like two people I know. Were just like
Wow.
they put it went into a cover. They went into like a thing, and both of them won.
Wow.
I don't know how many people entered. I'll have to go look at it, but they won like basically a full kit of like a 2D model. And I'm like, yo, that's fucking pog. Good for
Like,
you.
for real.
Like
I
they
would
one
love
of
I
them
would love to do that. I think it'd be so fun.
PNG and 2D YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
VTube.
Like any VTubing stuff. It's interesting to me. Like, as someone who I've never watched the content at all, it's really weird. Like, it's so strange to me. And the idea of like I could have a whole different persona that runs around and does their own thing and does all their own streaming, and it's not my
You can be a
face.
character if you want.
Yeah,
You can be
like
you or
you
you can
can
be a
make it
character.
a bit, like a whole bit, a thing, its own living, breathing thing. That's fun. Like, that would be really cool, and that would take all the stress that I feel out of streaming.
I thought about this yesterday. I would want to be a robot.
You would want to be a robot, huh?
Little robot guy.
Little adorable robot dude,
Yeah, little tiny little like beep
like
boop.
Butter, like the Butterbot from
Like
Rick and Morty.
Bebo.
Okay,
Bimo. Just somebody does something. I'm like, that's not very smart. It's
and
like
like
really
that would
smart
be
alecky.
so good.
Like I don't. You didn't think this through, did you? Just like really like smart ass comments. Like, hey, smart ass. Well, I am a computer. I think that would be like
Yeah,
really funny. But
it'd be a good time.
I would want to do like I still want to do stuff outside of that. I feel like when you get into that and if it does go, that is something that goes. Like
Yes, it does.
you have to full send that and like commit to it or else like you fall off so bad. Cuz when a character hits, they're just like really enjoyable. My cat is just rubbing himself against a bag of Skittles, you fucking weirdo.
He's hungry. Give him Skittle.
Give him Skittle. He like that stuff it, it seems so cool yet so complicated at the same time. uh I can't remember who they are. Is it Code Miko?
I have no idea.
That is one character that I found like integrated into my part of the YouTube world where I was like, oh, this is just cool.
Yeah.
Because if you're not actively searching for it, it can be hard to find. Or if there's certain characters that you see and you're like, I don't like this gimmick. This makes me extremely uncomfortable. Go away. And
That's
there are
very
others that are
nice.
just like, yo, that's actually like kind of sick. Because I
I
believe the
know.
person does like full body, like the way when they wear a suit and move their
Wow.
character around.
Those mocap suits are so expensive. Oh,
Yeah, but it's like how much money they probably make out. That probably pays for itself. They're
that's true.
probably fine. And that has to be something that like you have to enjoy doing that to do that. That is not time to put on. Honey, where's my super suit? That's not a rise and grind 9 to 5 job. That's a I love what I do. And
I know the
respect
one
that.
that got me into it, like the one that at least kind of, because I didn't know it existed when I first got into it. The one that got me into it was Lily Peaches when she started using her little VTuber thing. And I was like, that's really adorable, and what a nice way to get your face off camera. Because at least for someone like me, I hate being on camera.
When you have a day where you're like, I don't want to be on camera, that's a nice filler that gives an image of like you
Yeah.
without the stress of
My
yeah.
actual face is being seen at all times. And like I don't feel like I'm a particularly terrible looking person. It's just there's something mentally there that I don't enjoy being on camera for most things. I do it every basically every week for my D&D show, and it like having the option to not do it but do it would be great. It would be really, really convenient and nice, and take pretty much all of the things I don't like about streaming and just toss them in the trash. Yeah, here's this perfect little representation of me that does everything I do, but isn't me.
It's
Like,
a mini me.
it's the like the I forget her name, but there was one of the OTV cast that they used a green screen and took a picture of their background when it was like a perfectly clean room. And they used that as their background on their green screen. And then one day somebody was like, how do you
that?
Yeah, and it was like, somebody comes into the chat, was like, how do you keep your room so clean all the time? And they just kind of like reached back and lifted the green screen, and it was just a mess, and then they just dropped it again and smiled, and it's like, that would be great. Like, that's I don't have a background that needs that help, but that's amazing. What an ingenious way to use technology.
I just got reminded of something. All I can think about when I think about backgrounds is this one little clip where the guy has like a fax machine and somebody sends a fax, show us what's in the fridge. The guy goes, you want to see what's in the fridge?
And he lifts the whole fridge
because it's a cardboard cutout. He goes, there is no fridge. And it kills me. It's so good. I lied.
It's the best form of comedy too. Like, there is such a bit. Like, I remember there was a guy who did like a VTuber thing for a little bit, and there was a clip where somebody asked him to turn it off. And he turns it off, and he, like, his background, his person, nothing is the same. Like, not even a little. Like, his little VTuber was adorable and perfect. The background was this comfy little room, and he flips it off, and he just lives in like a dungeon and looks like a goblin. Like, what a good form of comedy to just be able to change everything in a moment's notice.
How funny would that be if that was another like model?
Right. Like, and like, you have no idea. He could have just swapped. Like,
it would be. I think it'd be something I would be interested in attempting, because I don't know how I feel about having myself on camera. One, because it's like there's genuinely a security risk with showing your face and being anyone popular. And if you get like but that is also like a double-edged sword, because then you don't get like the people who like walk up and like, hey, I recognize you from my little phone screen, and then they're like, can we take a picture? And it's like, I don't have the robot on me, sorry. Just walk away.
Let me just pull Bebo out of my pocket. There you go.
I think here's the one thing I would do. If it ever got to a point like that, I would just carry like little figurines, like little toys, and if anybody recognized, I'd just give them one for free. Here you go.
That'd be super cool.
It'd be super just
like they hear your voice and know.
Yeah. Well, I would want to do the first one. I would want to do the voice mod thing and do like a little like staticky.
Yeah.
Wow. But,
man.
Yeah, that would.
I don't know. I love the diversity of content you can make. I think you used to be you used to be so pigeonholed. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be Let's Players, and that was it. Biggest names were all Let's Players. Streamers had their own space, but they weren't really there yet. And then as the fever pitch changed, and you had these streamers that got bigger than life and these YouTubers that got huge, it was like, okay, now we can do anything. Like, especially entertainers wise, you could really do whatever you want. You've got these massive D&D, tabletop gaming shows now. You've got people who barely play games at all, and they just make art on stream, but they talk to people while they work on their art. Or these musicians who all they do is, I don't want to call it react content because it's not, but it's like they get to sit down and play a song that they think is really cool, and then see everyone's reaction live and go, what if I changed this? And get to pose that question to people. And like, the one thing that I really would love to start working on or trying to do is I want to workshop my writing content. Like, I want to write out my story, or at least like a loose background information thing, and then be like, what do you guys think of this so far? What do you think I should change? And like sit there and workshop a piece of work like that with my my fans, my friends, these people who want to watch and talk with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be really cool. And then at the end of it, I think it'd be even cooler to credit everyone that worked on the project with me. Like at the very end of the book, 3 or 4 pages of these people, everyone who ever helped me with, gave me an idea. I think giving the credit away, like a special thanks section at the end of a book, would just be such a gratifying experience. It'd be so neat. I don't know. It'd just be fun.
It would be. That all being said, Connor, my friend, it's time for the wish segment.
Oh God! Now that we're done being wholesome, gross. Who went first last time?
I did.
You did. So it's my turn, huh?
Your turn. Because I'm gonna be honest. Depending on how long this takes, we might run the longest episode today.
Oh my God!
We're at an hour 15 already.
Let's get fucking weird. All right, you ready?
Let's get schwacky. Bring it on. Okay, that's not nearly as weird as I thought it would be.
What the fuck do you mean? What is that?
I would assume it's designed to keep earbuds in.
No shot. That's not. Look at the shape of that thing.
Yes.
It's got 2 ears in it.
That they're head side to side. They like snap together. That's why it looks like that.
You really looked at this and understood.
Yes. Because it said 2 pieces, and then it's above the 2 of them.
Look,
back to back.
You just tried to explain it to me, and I'm still lost.
Okay.
I don't.
2?
What the fuck do you mean? Keep earbuds in? If they don't go in, then you don't use them.
I mean, it could also depends on if they're like noise canceling as well. No,
I was,
that just sound like an ocean because it's got still like areas it can go in.
I don't understand. I don't get the purpose at all.
I mean, it's absolutely the first stupid.
One. Like, it's the first one I looked at and went, I don't know. I don't know even a little.
I don't think I understand.
Like my first initial thought, like unironically, was for 2 people to put their ears in both sides. Like,
just they're like, morphing together. It's morbid time.
Yeah, like my legitimate thought was like, is this a device to simulate being attached twins?
There's a market for that.
Also, there's no price, which scares me more. Like that price, I think, is a singular euro, but that's not a euro mark, and there's a comma instead of a period.
I think it's a euro, but that's not a euro mark, and it's
right.
A comma.
Like, what is it, and how much? And is it a 7 or a 1? And I have some questions. I hate it. I had to give it to you.
It doesn't. It's not subtle. That's for certain.
No. Whatever it is, it's strange.
I do have to apologize before I send this one out in the wild, because it is a little bit of a throwback, but we have to do it. We have to do it.
Oh no!
Why? Why these things exist? Nobody knows.
That's just okay. Hold on. Ignoring our throwback piece, that's just a fucking Snorlax off on that right side. Why? How? How did you get the legal rights? Like, you didn't. You're stealing. That's what that is.
It's probably like Schmorschmax.
Yeah, like the face is gonna be different, but that's definitely
it's gonna be the face of a Ditto. That's how they get away with it. Oh, just, you know what? A little tiny sidetrack. Have you seen the new Pokemon card stuff?
No.
Where so you get one card, and like you could peel the card off of another one. It reveals another one underneath it.
Oh, I bet the collectors are fucking furious.
Yeah, some people are like, is it better left unpeeled, or if there's a rarer card underneath, do you risk trying to damage it?
Man, that's got to be hard. That's got to be so bad.
I want to say the people I was talking to said it was Pokemon and Magic.
If Magic does it, Magic is a much more understanding space because the expensive cards are all protected. Like the actually expensive, the alpha cards and all that.
Okay, so no, this is worth noting that the card that's on top that you peel away is a different card.
Right.
So you reveal another. So like there's a picture of like it's a Ponyta, but then at the bottom right it's got the information for Ditto, and you lift it up and it's a Ditto card.
Oh man. Yeah, I bet those collectors are furious. I bet they are so unhappy.
I think people are split on it.
I mean,
don't know the
as a
exact
person who
reaction, but
doesn't, I don't keep a lot of very expensive cards, and I am primarily a Magic player. Not that I played a lot. I am a player purely because of friends that play.
you could
But
talk about your cousin that has like $3,000 in a single deck. That's fine.
well, and he's not the most affluent among my friend group, cards wise.
That's
But
so
yeah,
crazy.
it is like my friend group. I would say my combined friend group is something of like, I don't know, 12 to 15,000 probably.
I can
Um,
believe that.
and that's a comfortable estimate. It's probably much higher. But it like, as someone who I keep a fairly nice deck that can keep up with those expensive ones, it's like I don't know. I am not gonna freak out over a card like that. If I peeled a card back and got a better one underneath, or even a worse one, I'd be like, cool, that was an interesting experience. It's something new.
Yeah,
But for them, they would lose it. Like they would kill somebody if they
it's
paid a lot of money for that card
it's
and
like
then
some
peeled it and it
people
was
who buy
garbage.
the like the vintage Pokemon card boxes that are like, do I open this or
Right.
do I
Or do I
keep it
just keep
sealed?
it? Yeah.
Because
Oof.
it's a coin
Oof.
toss. Yeah. Anyway, that's an egg toss, baby.
That was an egg toss.
That
We
was an
tossed
egg
an egg.
toss. We threw it. We kept it
Just
up in the air for an hour and 21 minutes.
call
Not
that shit a
bad.
wombo combo.
I won't. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you.
Bye.
We love
Love
you.
you.
Jinx, Poke, Yomi a Coke.